We're going to replace all the pipe. Do a leaf filter, then replace all the pipe. You know, get this water out here. You got some cable and communication lines. Just stop right before you get to the communication line. This one's plugged, guys. I'm telling you ahead of time because I know you're going to want to use the pipe underneath the walkway, but it's plugged. So, all right, this one right here, she's got brand new gutters. These gutters were just put on the house and the water pours over top of them and it's already black staining the gutters from the water running over them. So we know this is plugged. I looked down in it and there does appear to be a bunch of organic material down there. So we might have to abandon that if it's plugged solid. But we want to take that under the walk. We want to take that past the patio, past the landscape. We want to get it out here where the grade breaks.
None of the equipment was used on this job. This is a true DIY project. The guys did all this by hand. It was easier to do it by hand, with the exception of the sod cutter. Always rent a sod cutter. It makes your job so much easier. A sod cutter would also encourage going further away from the house. And when you can run further away from the house, you can only benefit with a downspout line that's an additional 10 feet farther out from the house. Now, this product we're going to talk about a little later in this video. In my opinion, as a contractor of more than 35 years, this is one of the worst products on the shelf, and it gets homeowners in trouble all the time. We'll talk more about this a little bit later in this video. Now, we have this one downspout, back corner of the house. When the water's let go between two homes, you can't regather it. You can build a system that costs 10 times more money than running this downspout, and you're still not going to gather all that water. When water gets trapped between two homes, it is next to impossible to gather that water. Once you have that water caught at the downspout, do not let it go. Make sure you get past all the landscape, all the walkways, the patios. Get clear of all of that because water gets hung up on that. Get far back in the yard. Go that extra 15 feet to get that water to discharge far away from the homes. The sod cutter is key for this. It makes your job so easy. It encourages you to go an extra 15 feet. You can see how the guys are cutting the sod. They have it in pieces that they can handle. Now, here's another tip. If you have something that you can lay your dirt on, that's a really good idea. It's going to help you at the time of cleanup. You can see that the men are using the turf mats that we typically drive the equipment on, and they're just going to put the dirt on top of that, making cleanup a lot easier. Make sure to have a flat bottom trench. You want it to have gradual slope. So take the time to shave off any high points. You want to make sure that you have a nice gradual slope and a flat bottom trench for best results. And then you're going to dig a hole right where you're going to put your inline catch basin. That's the only place that you're going to have a section that's going to be a different elevation. You want to catch the shingle gravel, so you have to have an inline sediment trap to do that. Shingle gravel builds up in lines, and it clogs pipes. This system was taken out by shingle gravel. Look at all the shingle gravel that was in just 2 feet of pipe, for example. This whole line all the way through was full of shingle gravel because it didn't have an inline sediment trap. And then they had this on it to take care of the leaves. This is supposed to shed the leaves and the water's supposed to go in it, but it doesn't. The water comes splashing out during torrential rains and it floods your basement. This is, in my opinion, as a contractor for more than 35 years, that's the worst product that they have on the shelves. It gets homeowners in trouble all the time. Now, here's the backyard downspout. Look at this, is like 1 foot of pipe. Look at all the shingle gravel. It was plug solid. This was causing the gutter troughs to overflow and all the water to pour right at the foundation of the home. This is what causes flooded basements, flooded crawl spaces, flooded garages. When you have an underground buried downspout system with no inline sediment trap, now this is an inline sediment trap. It's going to catch all that shingle gravel. You put this on your line up close to the house, usually just a few feet away from the house. That way you can start collecting the shingle gravel so it can't find its way through the line and contaminate the line. We're going to have a solid cover on this so no mosquitoes will get inside this inline sediment trap. Now the guys are hooking up a leaf filter on the downspout. Now the leaf filter that the men installed on this downspout, it has a door on it. so that you just open up the door and you clean the leaves out, but the water can't splash out all over the place. Now, this is the inline sediment trap. You can see how the men are using the super sticky, super stretchy plumbing tape. That way we have a really good seal where we connect to the inline sediment trap. It won't leak. And then roots will have trouble finding their way inside this inline sediment trap. Now, ideally, I would have preferred to see that basin up here closer to the house. But there's this big shrub. So whenever there's a big shrub or tree, we run a solid piece of pipe, no fittings, no connections, no T's, no Y's. We want to run from that downspout all the way to that inline catch basin, one solid piece of pipe. And that's why we love corrugated pipe. PVC pipe has glue joints everywhere, and that's where roots get in. Look at this one piece of pipe from the catch basin all the way to the pop-up. The only way you can beat tree roots and shrub roots is with a one-piece pipe. We're going to splice in an inline sediment trap right here. There's going to be a piece of fabric underneath it, and we're going to have stone between the basin and the fabric. Look at this pipe. Look at that one piece of pipe, the whole length. There's no couplers. There's no fittings. There's nowhere for roots to get in. We're splicing in this inline catch basin. It's going to act as a sediment trap and collect all the sediment. Look how easy this connects. Look at that. Super easy. It doesn't get any easier, and it fits in the trench. This inline sediment trap is a triple patent pending product that we just released. Put some fabric underneath your pop-up emitter and put stone around it as well. That way when you drill holes in your pop-up emitter, or if you have a bottomless pop-up emitter, the water can leach into the subsoil after the bulk water has been moved. This is textbook. One piece of pipe from the pop-up emitter to the inline catch basin, and one piece of pipe from the other side of the inline catch basin to the gutter downspout. Beautiful install. We're going to show you how the guys connected this gutter downspout to this leaf filter. I'm going to take the door off and I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. Have your downspout come to the top of the blue screen. This is a grate. It screens the water so that it catches all the leaves. Notice how the downspout is right there at the top of it. That's what you want. That way, if you have any settling at the house, it won't come off the downspout because you have the downspout inside the vented Cleanout leaf filter. You have it enough inside that you have given yourself a little bit of room if there's some settling. Now, the center of this comes out, and there's one lug that's a different size. There's two lugs that are the same size, and then there's one smaller lug. The smaller lug goes to the bottom when you put it back in for easy install. So you're not fumbling with it and all frustrated because it's not going in for you. We did this intentionally because it was too easy to put this in sideways or upside down, so this was a change we made. Besides me having really big hands and having to work at that just a little bit, it actually is quite easy. I was holding a camera and trying to do it at the same time. Look at that. Perfect install. Beautiful. Don't get any better than that. Really nice. Now, we taped one end of this catch basin, and we left the other end untaped so you can see it. We have our connection where the pipe is connected to the coupler, and then where the coupler is connected to the catch basin. You want to tape that really good like we did on the other side. You can see where the black tape is. Now we're putting some stone underneath this inline sediment trap because we don't want the holes that we drilled in this inline sediment trap to be plugged with clay. If you have a bed of stone, the water can leach into the subsoil when the rain is done, when the thunderstorm is over, and you're not moving bulk water. There's going to be some water left in that basin. You want it to leach into the subsoil. Beautiful install. Textbook. They got the water far away from the home. It's in the backyard where it can't do any harm. Here's our pop-up emitter that you can get your hand down in. So if you need to clean it, maybe there's some tree buds that found its way through the leaf filter and they floated to the other end. This system you can access at the downspout, you can access at the pop-up emitter, and you can access it at the inline catch basin. Beautiful install, textbook. It doesn't get any better than this. No more soggy grass in between these two homes. We took care of that problem. All that water that used to dump in between these two homes, and it just gets lost in the turf grass. It can't find its way. If you don't let water go in between your houses, and if you pipe that water, if you catch it at the downspout and you do not let it go, you pipe it far away from the side of the house, you will not have any issues. You'll have a really nice, tight, dry yard on the side of the house. This is super easy for the homeowners. They just lift this cover up, grab some leaves out, and that's in the fall. In the fall, when there's tons of leaves falling, you just check this bi-weekly through the fall. That is it. And if your line freezes, well, that's vented. Why was that vented? Well, so that you can get the water off the roof. That's really important. If the ground is frozen, if the water comes out of that vent during a thaw, it's just going to run across the frozen ground out to the front yard. You're going to have some leftover dirt with a 4-inch pipe, quite a bit. If you use a 3-inch pipe, you're going to have a lot less dirt left over. Make sure any place you have a lot of tree roots, you run one piece of pipe. You can only do that with corrugated pipe. You can't do it with PVC pipe because you have to glue PVC pipe together. But a piece of corrugated pipe can run from this downspout through this landscape bed. You can see all the roots. We eventually want to put an inline catch basin. You can see where we're finally going to put that inline catch basin. I want to talk about one more upgrade all homeowners should consider. Here's some bonus footage for you guys.
You can see the difference between a 2x3 downspout leaves always get stuck right in the elbows. Our client had 3x4s installed. You can see the difference. Look how much bigger that downspout is. That gutter downspout will pass leaves. They don't get stuck in the elbows. You don't have any problems like you do with the 2x3s. Always upgrade your downspout to a 3x4.
If you found any of this information helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports our channel. If you have any questions about underground buried downspouts, leave them in the comments section. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until that next video.